IHRA drag racing, an awesome display of power and sound.
All right, good luck. Pins off.
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're ready. The BTS crew moving up the top of the track, so get ready for more ground pounding. London has risen ready to fire up the next pair of machines in Pro 20 car round 2. Here is the IHRA All-Pro Motorcraft International.
They fire first, Paul.
Jody Smart pulling up in the Windsor Lane, San Antonio, Texas. The owner was the nation's largest wholesale dealer.
Coming up, the 1985 IHRA Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals from Rockingham, North Carolina. ESPN, your #1 auto racing network, presents Auto Racing 85. We've been here a couple of times across the street for stock car racing. Today we're on the drag strip in Rockingham, North Carolina for the Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Larry Newber. This is one of the fastest drag strips that IHRA competes on. Pro funny cars, maybe a 260 today, Larry?
Possibly, Bob. You know, there's a lot of elements going on here. This is only the second race of the IHRA season. We had a surprise winner in Ed Ace McCullough in the first run. That 260 mile an hour might happen here. This is a very nice facility, very fast, as Bob mentioned. The drivers like to come here, and almost anything could happen.
We have already seen a new world speed record set in pro stock, that by Ricky Smith.
New world speed record, and Ricky Smith also hopes to become maybe the first pro stocker to ever go 190 miles an hour. Simply stated, this is the fastest pro stock field in IHRA history.
The third member of our broadcast crew today will be covering various locations here at Rockingham. He's down on the line right now. Here is Marty Reed.
Thanks, Bob and Larry. You know, 90% of the races we're going to see today are going to be won right here on the starting line. And first-round action sometimes can be more tense than some of the others, and here's the reason why. If you're the first two cars down the track, you win your first-round race, you've got an advantage. You get extra time to prep your car for second round. But if you lose that first-round race, you have to come to grips with the fact that you have spent all week getting to that moment and that the national anthem has lasted longer than you did. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, thank you, Marty. Before we begin eliminations, let's talk about who to look for. Pro funny car.
I don't have any idea. No, I'm just kidding. We have lost our #1 qualifier, so I suppose you start turning your attention to people like, well, maybe Billy Meyer. Billy Meyer holds the ET record, not only for this racetrack, but for all of IHRA in history. He's been very strong here. He was the youngest pro driver to ever win an IHRA national event. Watch for him to be pretty strong here today. Then Mark Oswald, the Cincinnati driver. He holds the speed record for this racetrack, all of IHRA. He was the 1984 Pro Funny Car World Champion. He'll be very strong also later this afternoon.
The defending champion in pro stock, Lee Shepard, was killed over the winter months, so really the pro stock division is wide open.
It really might be. You know, Shepard and Warren Johnson, normally the names up top, but they're both not in the finals here today. Ronnie Sox, however, has come out of semi-retirement. He has won more national titles, that's 13, than any other driver. He has shown himself to be very good, particularly on reaction times here at this racetrack, so watch for him to really run up toward the front. Ricky Smith, #1 qualifier, almost 190 miles an hour. Is he the heir apparent to Lee Shepard now that Lee is gone?
The 1985 IHRA Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals are being brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh-Lite, fire brewed for smoother taste. And by Drag Review, all you need to know about drag racing. We'll begin the eliminations here at Rockingham right after these messages. at Rockingham, North Carolina for the IHRA Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals. And before we begin our eliminations in the Pro Funny Car division, we'll show you a qualifying round involving Dale Bartlett. This crash earlier.
Absolutely spectacular, Bob, and this is what can happen when you're above 235 miles an hour. You see Bartlett out of control, probably well over 200 miles an hour. He breaks a rod, the gas lines ignite, but the big problem was that one of the rods went right through the fuel tank. There you see what's left of the fiberglass bodywork of this funny car.
Watch how the fiberglass comes off the car, leaving the driver Bartlett totally exposed as he continues down the dragway. Let's go down to Marty Reed, who's with Dale Bartlett.
Dale, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Can you tell me what happened?
It left good, I think. This is tough now, pal. It left good, and I felt it go away. I hit the chutes and got off the throttle, and then it erupted into flames, and the rest you saw. And I couldn't get it out of the ditch. Tried real hard. And I had it like sashaying here, and I just couldn't get it out of the ditch. That's showbiz, pal. I'm done.
Well, it's nice to see Dale okay after that spectacular accident earlier in qualifying. We're set now for eliminations in the Pro Funny Car division. There are the quarterfinalists, and our first run this afternoon involves the defending IHRA Winston Pro Funny Car World Champion, Mark Oswald, 31-year-old from Cincinnati, Ohio, against Don Prudhomme.
Yeah, he's going up against, Oswald is one of the most famous names really in the history of drag racing, but Prudhomme, he's had a tough weekend. He's already lost 2 motors. He's got to be scratching his head. He's going fast. He's worked his way this far in the meet, but he's having all kinds of engine problems.
There's the Don Prudhomme Pepsi Wendy's Pontiac Trans Am. Don is 44 years old from Granada Hills, California, and was the first driver in Pro Funny Car competition to break the 250-mile-an-hour barrier. And this was the first round run against Al Segrini, and the problem was that Don Prudhomme blew an engine on that round, his second of the weekend.
As a matter of fact, Bob, not only have they been having problems this weekend, but the last 5 or 6 months, it's just been one problem after another. Prudhomme is really digging right now, trying to find the right combination to get this funny car running the way he'd like it to run.
Both cars are being staged now for competition here in the quarterfinals. Pro Funny Cars, Rockingham, North Carolina. The near lane is Mark Oswald, and in the far lane is Don Prudhomme.
Oswald, one of the fastest funny cars in history.
Pretty even as they go down. Smoke coming from Prudhomme's car, but
He's won it. Oh, Bob, I think he's... No, it's hard to say. I do think he won it, though. I saw some smoke coming out of there in the beginning.
Well, there definitely was some smoke coming out of the car. Perhaps that was tire smoke, though. We'll have to wait and see. Nevertheless, Don Prudhomme did beat Mark Oswald here in the quarterfinals.
And he did it really in a come-behind fashion. I think he won this race despite lighting up the tires. There's the Christmas tree. You can see the reaction times at the start pretty equal as we come
But
down
look at the
strip.
smoke.
Yeah, there's smoke already. There he is, a little bit out of shape, lighting up those tires, but boy, he stays on the button.
Let's go down to Marty Reed, who is with Don Prudhomme.
More disappointment at the top end for Don the Snake Prudhomme. Wins the race, but it's been a very expensive event.
Yeah, we're running pretty decent, and but we've gone through 3 engines here at this event, and that was our last one in the car, and that's it for us. We're done. We've had enough fun for one meet, you know.
Not going to be able to make next round at all.
No, it doesn't look good. It's just too much damage, and we've got parts all over the trailer, and we've had enough fun.
Can't try and buy a motor off somebody off the truck or something?
No, we got to get back to California and build our own motors, so we're on our way home.
Well, an interesting situation here. Don Prudhomme says he won't be back. 3 engines in one weekend is enough. Ready now for our next event, and this features Jody Smart against Kenny Bernstein. Jody Smart, 42 years old from San Antonio, Texas. One of those who made the switch from Pro Dragster to Pro Funny Car when IHRA eliminated the Pro Dragster division 2 years ago. And Kenny Bernstein, number 3 qualifier.
Bob, I really hate to see either one of these guys lose because I like race cars that look pretty. And I'll tell you, you will not find 2 finer-looking, nitro-burning Pro Funny cars anywhere in the world today. These are 2 really special race cars.
Now, here is a first-round event involving Smart and Head. This was earlier today, and you'll see what happens here as the cars come off the line.
They are right together all the way down the quarter mile as they cross the finish line. You see, lots of problems for the blue and yellow Jody Smart machine.
Let's go down to Jody Smart.
What happened, we had a block break in half. We've had a material problem in it, and when it broke, it blew the bottom of the intake manifold, which sucks a bunch of oil out of the bottom of the engine, and it goes up through the cylinders and out the exhaust pipe. And of course, when you shut that engine off down there, it's red hot, and it makes a lot of white smoke. But it's not a situation where it's near as bad as what everybody thinks. I mean, everybody thought the car was on fire, and all it was a bunch of smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe.
But repairs have been made, and now Jody is set to go against Kenny Bernstein. Jody is in the near lane, and Kenny in the far lane.
Jody Smart will retire this car after this run. Remember Kenny Bernstein? It seems like every time we see him on ESPN, looks like he's winning a race, crossing the line first.
Cars are being staged now, ready to go in this quarterfinal round. Kenny Bernstein against Jody Smart. And Bernstein with a hole shot off the line, down the strip. Bernstein still in command, and Kenny wins it.
Well, Bernstein really had the advantage over Smart way back up at the top of the line, but Smart stayed with it, and he made it a closer race than really what it started out to be, Bob.
257-mile-an-hour run for Jody Smart, but Kenny Bernstein with the better ET, and this is how they came off the line.
There's a good ground level shot of the reaction time. You can see the tails of both cars leaving about the same time.
So Kenny Bernstein wins in the quarterfinals, and we'll have more from Rockingham, North Carolina in just a moment. Back with more quarterfinals in the funny car division in the IHRA Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals from Rockingham, North Carolina. Set to go in our next race, Tom the Mongoose McEwen, a 47-year-old from Fountain Valley, California. His opponent will be Billy Meyer.
Well, as you look at McEwen in what I like to call the Coors vet, that seems to flow real nice. And you go over and look at Billy Meyer. Remember, Billy Meyer, one of the very fastest drivers in all of drag racing. There you get also a shot of the cement wall that separates the competitors from the spectators here at Rockingham. One of the first tracks to do that, the length of the entire quarter mile. And you know what? I bet you the insurance company really is happy about that.
I'm sure that's true. Billy Meyer holds, of course, the ET record in IHRA competition of 5.628, turned in last September at Bristol, Tennessee.
And Meyer has been around a long time. He's been running funny cars since the age of 17. There you see his first round performances.
So Billy Meyer will be in the far lane and Tom McEwen in the near lane. It's Corvette against Mustang here, with McEwen in the Corvette and Meyer in the Ford Mustang. Cars are being staged for this quarterfinal run. And the hole shot goes to Billy Meyer. Let's see if he can stave off the challenge. Yes, it's Billy Meyer with a rather easy win over Tom McEwen.
Well, it was a hole shot. It was kind of a delayed reaction. There you see the two speeds, 258 miles an hour versus 247. But Meyer really stayed with it. He had a nice start, but also McEwen had a nice start, but Meyer just seemed to power away down near the end.
258.62 miles an hour. The ET for Billy Meyer was 5.740. And a replay of the run once again.
258 miles an hour for Meyer. That's got to be one of his finest personal best ever. A 5.7, 258.62 miles an hour. You don't see too very many of those, and Billy Meyer's got to be happy.
It was a nice run as he kept the car right on the middle stripe as he went down toward the quarterfinals. Here is Billy Meyer already out of the car now as we get set for our next run of the afternoon, and this is Dale Puldee from Granada Hills, California, in the Miller Warrior Pontiac Trans Am. His opponent in this race will be Scott Coletta, the son of Connie Coletta.
And there was a little bit of fireworks in this division. It also involved Coletta. You see, he was the number 16 qualifier. He's low man on a totem pole here as we get to the finals, leading up to to this particular race.
This was the first round. It involved Coletta against Ed the Ace McCullough. McCullough is in the far lane. Watch what happens shortly after he takes off.
Now, from this angle, which actually is in live time, you just see McCullough slowing, and you wonder, well, exactly what happened.
Look at the damage on the car as the windshield is completely shattered, and we'll go back now and show you exactly what happened to Ed McCullough.
What you have here is a destroyed supercharger. Now, keep in mind that these things are originally designed to run on trucks. These are truck superchargers. Designed originally to turn about 2,500 RPM, but these guys make them go at over 10,000, or at least up to 10,000. It's actually a big air compressor forcing air down into the engine. And what happens if a valve breaks, it drops down into the cylinder, the spark plug ignites the extra fuel down there, ignite is kind of an understatement. It also instantaneously ignites all the extra fuel up in the compressor, and bang, what you have is a big, gigantic magnesium bomb, and you're trying to hold on to it.
The superchargers, of course, are strapped on so as to prevent them from flying off into the crowd or back into the driver, so a lot of safety precautions go into those superchargers and their placement. Now we're ready to go with Dale Puldey in the far lane against Scott Kalita in the near lane.
Good hole shot. Even so far, Puldey's car said to do well in the top end. Will he deliver?
And it's Dale Puldey moving ahead of Scott Kalita about halfway down the line. 248.61 miles an hour for Dale Puldey. That's an ET of 5.837.
Bob, this was kind of a big run for both of these guys. Kalita's in a car that's been very inconsistent. The car will go out and turn 5.8s, maybe high 5.7s, and then he'll come back and it'll just take, well, a really big dump, as some of the racers are wanting to say. Puldey, he has been struggling for, it seems like, a couple of years now. He's really looking for a big, spectacular weekend performance, and maybe this will be it.
Let's go down to Marty Reed, who is with the winner, Dale Puldey.
Bob got Dale Puldey, who's just finished, and I don't know if you know this, but Don Prudhomme is not going to make next round. You're going to get a bye.
Well, that's what I was told. I find it hard to believe. He's a pretty hard trooper unless he's just out of parts, which is very easy to believe.
He said
there's a block shortage right now.
He said he went through 3 motors, and he says that's all the horses he's got.
I can believe that. It'd go pretty fast.
We change divisions and go pro stock division when we come back to Rockingham, North Carolina.
A Lee close-up. There's a menace in your motor oil. Dirt you can't see. Micro grit. Today's engines are smaller, harder working. Micro grit is leaving its mark, scratching, grinding away. The unique Lee 2-stage traps the dirt you can't see. It's designed for today's smaller, harder working engines. For clean oil. Lee 2-stage maxi filter. It traps micro grit.
All the latest from IHRA drag racing and other forms of motorsports, Thursday nights at 7:30 Eastern Time on Speed Week. Larry and I give you all the latest news and results from every form of racing, Thursday nights at 7:30 on Speed Week. Before we get to our pro stock eliminations, let's take a look at what's going on down in the pro funny car pit area. Work being done there on the Kenny Bernstein car. His opponent next round will be Billy Meyer. Here's Marty.
The man with lane choice in the semifinal against Kenny Bernstein to this man, Billy Meyer. And which side you going to take?
Well, it depends when we get up there right now, but we prefer the right lane only in the evenings, and most of the time all day, always the left lane. It's been that way for the last couple of years here at this racetrack.
Now, the guy's working on the car, but nothing really hurt.
No, just our normal routine maintenance. We took the motor apart and had a couple tight rings on some pistons, and we're back together now and ready to go.
So nothing wrong with Kenny Bernstein's car, nor Billy Meyer's. It should be one whale of a drag race. Let's go back upstairs.
And that run will be coming up in just a few moments. Right now, we turn our attention to the pro stock quarterfinals, and there are the quarterfinalists. Our first run in this division will involve Johnny Dowie against Tom Mooney, and there is the Tom Mooney car.
Yeah, Mooney has had kind of a bizarre week, and he didn't really come in as one of the people expected to get this far along, but he did get into the finals as an alternate. There you see his performance in the first round. He actually beat, or upset, I guess we would say, Charlie Peppers in the first round. This is one of Mooney's best runs ever, but he got beat in miles per hour, but he still won the race. Now, he didn't win any money, by the way, for winning that first round, but if he wins this one, he can pick up some cash.
All right, in the far lane is Johnny Dowie, and the near lane is Tom Mooney from Shelby, North Carolina, as the cars get staged for this first run in the quarterfinals here at Rockingham. Green light.
Oh, Dowie's broke.
Problem with Dowie right off the line, and Tom Mooney is going to have an easy run here, an easy victory.
Crossing the finish line. The chute's not open, Bob.
And he's out of control. Tom Mooney is off the course.
Mooney mows down some North Carolina pines. Part of the fiberglass body comes off the race car, but I don't think the car came apart. You know, there's a complete roll cage on the inside, but he's not out of the race car yet. Some anxious moments here waiting for the emergence, hopefully.
You can see some movement in the car, Larry, so it looks like that Tom Mooney is, yeah, he's crawling out. Boy, a terrible crash, but Tom Mooney is okay. Here's a replay of what happened.
You know, with the IHRA safety precautions, this may look a little spectacular. By the way, you see Mooney has the brakes locked up, and there's the chute finally at long last. Doesn't do him too much good when he's going backwards, however, as he goes down through the North Carolina pines and mows them down like a tractor. You can see the fiberglass pulling off the car.
We're glad to see he's okay, and right now he's with Marty Reed.
Well, as you can see, we've got all kinds of bent metal. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What happened?
I don't know. It just went like the brakes locked up on the car or something. I don't know.
Tough way to go out.
It's rough.
It's going to be a few minutes before they can clean up the debris caused by this accident. While that clearing process is going on, we'll take this break and be back with more from Rockingham.
Bristol International Dragway, May 31, June 1, 2. 21st Annual Granddaddy of them all, Winston Spring Nationals. Funny car stars include Tom McEwen, Don Prudhomme, World Champ Candice and Hughes' Old Milwaukee car, the Blue Max. Pro stocks include Ronnie Sox's Chevy, Ricky Smith's Ford, Bob Glidden's Ford, Billy Ewing's Chevy, plus Saturday Stroh's Night of Fire, including final funny car qualifying round. Stroh, Brewhaller, jet-powered truck, and more. Bristol, May 31, June 1, 2. Winston Spring Nationals. Get your tickets now. Pontiac, Trans Am official car of the IHRA.
I'd sure like another Stroh's.
Oh, wait.
Alex? 2 cold Stroh's. Where do you see this? Just open the refrigerator. Just open one bottle. Just open the other. Now he's pouring yours. Now he's pouring mine. Alex, you better be drinking your water.
Stroh's and Stroh Light, fire brewed for smoother taste.
Bob Jenkins and Larry Newber back at the Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals at Rockingham, North Carolina, ready for our next run in the Pro Stock quarterfinals. This race involves Ronnie Sox against Ricky Smith. Smith there in the far lane.
Oh, Bob, this could really be a good one. That is Ricky Smith, the guy who almost went 190. There you see his first round performance, 185 miles per hour. Remember, he's going after the first 190-mile-an-hour run in IHRA history. And that is Ronnie Sox, the legendary Ronnie Sox. You see his performance in round one. The original Mr. 4-Speed, the man in the straw hat, a guy who has come out of semi-retirement. He's pulled off a couple of very, very huge hole shots in preliminary runs here. 0.02 of a second on one of them, and I'll tell you, that is fast.
Ronnie Sox was the 1981 IHRA Winston Pro Stock World Titleist. He is in the near lane in his Gary Duckworth Camaro. And in the far lane is Ricky Smith from King, North Carolina in the Motorcraft Ford Thunderbird. Ready for this quarter-final run in Pro Stock. Good hole shot by...
Smith is down.
Ronnie Sox got off the line very quickly, and Ricky Smith just did not. And it's an easy win for Ronnie.
Well, Ronnie Sox, the number 8 qualifier going into the final rounds, advances one more step up the ladder, and Ricky Smith didn't even keep the power up all the way down the strip. There you see it.
When the green light came on, Ricky Smith just did not get off the line, and Ronnie Sox pulls off somewhat of an upset victory here this afternoon at Rockingham.
Well, for Smith, I don't know exactly what happened. Maybe we can try and find out just a little later, but he shut down very quickly. There must have been some type of problem.
All right, and the contestants in our next race are getting ready now. This will be Joe Lapone in the near lane against Billy Ewing in the far lane.
Lapone right now is in 5th position in the point standings. He's one of the nice, pleasant surprises of 1985 so far. He was 6th a year ago. He qualified 11th best in the qualifying runs here at Rockingham this weekend.
Joe Lapone, 31 years old, from Newton Square, Pennsylvania, in a 1985 Camaro. And on the far lane is Billy Ewing. And Ewing with the advantage as they go down.
Ewing won the very first race of the IHRA season with a couple of almost picture-perfect runs.
But wait a minute, there's a red light for Billy Ewing, so Joe Lapone is going to advance.
Oh, what a surprise. As I mentioned, Ewing had done very well at the first race of the season. I really felt that his driving was what propelled him to the win. But Lapone is the man today.
Next up will be Bruce Allen against
very first IHRA National Championship event ever. Let's see how he does. It looks like he may win this one, Bob.
Close race, but it looks like that Bruce Allen pulled it off by just a tick of the watch.
Well, Bruce Allen probably has the fastest Chevy that's entered, maybe in all of drag racing right now. You see it in the number 2 qualifier.
And when I said tick of the watch, I wasn't kidding. It was 7.605 for Bruce Allen and 7.623 for Jim Ruth. So an exciting race here that Bruce Allen pulls out.
And a top speed for Allen of 187 miles an hour. And for Ruth, 185, almost 186. I tell you, the losers are turning in fast times.
Ricky Smith set the world speed record earlier, but had trouble in his most recent race. Here's Marty Reed with Ricky.
Well, Bob and Larry, it has not been a good day for number 1 qualifiers. Ed the Ace McCulloch is out in Pro Funny, and now Ricky Smith in Pro Stock. What happened?
We had severe tire shake on the starting line. The track was kind of, I don't know, it had real slick spots up there, and it was good in one spot. I chose the left lane, but it shook real bad.
One of those things that you wish you could go back and pick the other side now?
Yeah, I'd definitely take the other side now, but, you know, this Motorcraft Thunderbird has just been outstanding all weekend, and I got to say, Sonny's Automotive in Lynchburg, Virginia, just built some ungodly horsepower in this car, so we're going to win a race 40 years out. You can bet on that.
Well, you may not leave with the championship ring, but you leave with the world record in speed.
Oh, yeah, we got the speed record, and we'll definitely hope to break it again.
And, of course, he'll be at our next ESPN event.
And better luck at that event for Ricky Smith. We will be back with more of the Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals from Rockingham, North Carolina in a moment. ESPN's Auto Racing 85 today in Rockingham, North Carolina. Let's go down to Marty Reed, who's with Kenny Bernstein.
Thanks, Bob. The man who has really been the driving force behind wind tunnel testing has been this guy right here, Kenny Bernstein. And Kenny, you have made drastic changes again on the car.
Well, we have. We've taken the Budweiser King Motorcraft Tempo and really streamlined her even further than last year. As you know, we were the first funny car to be able to go into the wind tunnel a year ago. When we came out of the tunnel, we had a car that was really, we felt at that time, much better than anything we've had before. Longer, leaner, less drag, and more downforce. We also, at the same time, Dale Armstrong, my crew chief, found out that there was more that he needed to be done. And we already knew what we wanted to do for the 85 car. It's just that we couldn't build it right then.
So what did you specifically do?
Well, in this particular car, the new one, we lengthened the front end of the race car. We extended it out further. We also shrunk the front end a little bit. We extended the back end of the race car further, so the deck lid in the back becomes like a spoiler. Instead of putting the gigantic spoilers on the car like you see on most of them today, we still have a conventional small spoiler, but we have more air in the back pushing down on this race car. It proved out last week in Atlanta at the Lockheed Tunnel to be worthwhile. It already has. It's run 262 miles an hour.
And Kenny Bernstein will be facing Billy Meyer in this semifinal round, along with Dale Puldee, who has a solo run because Don Prudhomme says that 3 engines in one weekend is just a little too much. Kenny Bernstein looking very slim and trim here at Rockingham this weekend.
He's a very active man and a very successful businessman, Bob. By the way, you know, you might wonder, why is Puldee really going to let it all hang out on this run? Now, remember, though, as you move up that ladder I was talking about a little earlier, which we just saw, the best times in the most recent round give you the choice in terms of the lanes that you'd like to have. So that's why we expect Puldee to give it all that he has just to see how well he can do, so maybe he can make his own lane selection.
See how much there is as far as concentration is concerned on these drivers' faces. Dale Puldee, off he goes on the solo run. And he wastes no time getting toward the line. It certainly was no slow run for Dale Puldee. 236.22 miles an hour, an ET of 5.943.
Well, I'd say he's almost, if you were at Indianapolis, I'd say on the bubble, Bob. That's a solid speed, but I really doubt that's going to hold up as the best speed in the third round here.
There's a lot going on down in the pit area. Let's go once again to Marty Reed, who is with Ronnie Sox, who will be in the semifinal round in the Pro Stock division.
Well, guys, I'm going to tell you something. You're looking at one of the most familiar hats in all of drag racing. This hat takes a trip down the track every time Ronnie Sox goes down the track. And, Ronnie, you've got to buy into the final round. Is that going to change your strategy at all? Will you try and step it up and go for lane choice?
Well, that'll give us a chance to try something that we normally wouldn't try against, somebody that was right there beside of you. But we are going to try to run fast because lane choice is very important, and so we'll let it all hang out on the by run.
Right now, Kenny Bernstein gets ready to go in his semifinal run against Billy Meyer.
Bernstein is not only a successful businessman, gets a last-minute adjustment there on the blower, but also he's become, Bob, really one of the most legendary drag racers of all time. There you can see that blower is certainly working. You see the eyes light up as he jams on the throttle.
And his opponent in this race will be Billy Meyer from Waco, Texas, who earlier defeated Tom the Mongoose McEwen in the quarterfinal run. And there is his miles per hour in the quarterfinal run.
Bob, this could be a good one. Both of these guys have had a relatively, that is for drag racers, routine weekend. No real serious problems. Both of them have been just about re-engineering their engines after each round, but that's pretty commonplace in drag racing. This could be a good strong one. Remember Meyer, he's got a couple of all-time IHRA records. He's a track record holder here at Rockingham. Bernstein's had a good couple of years, and these guys could go side by side all the way down the strip.
All right, the cars are being staged for semifinal action. Billy Meyer in the far lane and Kenny Bernstein in the near lane. Good race. Looks like that Billy Meyer has the advantage. Bernstein cannot pull it off. It's Billy Meyer beating Kenny Bernstein.
Bernstein, as you see, gets off the line about even with Meyer, but now watch as they come down the strip. Bernstein's in trouble already. The car slips on a banana about a tenth of a mile off the line. Then he does it again just a little further on down the strip, and I think that was the difference.
The miles per hour for Billy Meyer, 250.69. The ET is 5.888. So Billy Meyer will advance to the finals against Dale Puldee. Well, the drag racing world is poor this year because of the death of Lee Shepard.
Earlier this year, the sport of drag racing lost one of its finest when Lee Shepard was tragically killed during a test session. This year, on all the Pro Stock cars, you'll notice a black stripe across the number. It is in memory of Lee, and we took the time to talk to some of the drivers for their thoughts on this great, great driver.
He was the same when he beat you, and he was the same when you beat him. He was just a super competitor, and we've all lost a heck of a driver and a heck of a man.
You had some classic matchups against him. Any one that stands out in your mind?
Well, I guess last year at Cincinnati is the biggest one because he hadn't been beat all year, and they was going to try to win every IHRA race, and we finally broke that string. And I guess that right there was one of the biggest ones I had against him, was beating him last year at Cincinnati.
Always meant something more to beat the best.
Yeah, always. And he was the best, no doubt.
Bob Jenkins and Larry Nuber back at the Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals at Rockingham, North Carolina. The day is getting late, but the fans are still here. The 3 days here at Rockingham have attracted more than 52,000 people. The semifinal runs in Pro Stock will have Allen against Lapone. Ronnie Sox will have a solo performance because of the accident earlier involving Tommy Mooney. So we're getting ready now for the Bruce Allen against Joe Lapone race. Allen in the far lane and Lapone in the near.
I guarantee you this will be a memorable few seconds. Oh, somewhere around 10 seconds or less for either one of these guys. They've never won. Either one of them has ever won a championship event. One of them is going to go to the finals. Bruce Allen, Joe Lapone. Allen in the far lane, Joe Lapone in the near lane.
Here we go. A close race at the halfway point, but in the far lane, it's Bruce Allen.
Allen has done it. This is his first ever IHRA National Championship event, and he is going to the finals.
185.95 miles an hour, an ET of 7.492. Lapone with a quicker ET, 7.648. There's Ricky Smith watching this run, and I'm sure he's saying to himself, boy, do I wish I could have been there.
I bet he is, too. You can see Lapone getting off the line, and that's been somewhat of a problem for Bruce Allen. The reaction times have been off just a bit all week, but I'll tell you, that rear and Morrison engine really powers him as he goes down the strip. You can see the RPMs picking up, coming on, and Allen, it's a close race, but actually because he's accelerating so quickly, he wins relatively easily.
So Burlington, North Carolina's Ronnie Sox is ready for a solo performance here.
There you see him executing some very well-educated burnouts. By the way, this is just not for wows and oohs and ahs from the crowd. There's actually something going on here that's very important. The idea is when you spin the tires, it cleans them up, it also heats them up, and the other thing you do is back up over the tracks you just laid down. It gives you the very best possible adhesion when that green light pops.
Ronnie Sox on his way.
Remember, he would like to go faster than 185 if possible.
Well, he didn't do it. 183.29 miles an hour. The ET is 7.679.
Well, Sox gives it his all, but it's not quite enough. He will not have lane preference as we move into the finals.
So Ronnie Sox wins on the solo performance, and there you can see some work being done in the funny car pits as Billy Meyer readies for his final run a little bit later this afternoon.
You know, this has really become a science. You can absolutely rebuild an entire car while one run is going on. Sometimes it seems, Bob.
All right, now we're going to bring you the stock finals here. In the far lane is Curtis Smith, and in the near lane is Kenneth Horn.
Well, this is really the grassroots, almost on the professional level of drag racing. This stock class, by the way, is made up of 70 different classes. These cars must be factory assembly line cars and available to the general public.
And you'll note that they're not quite as fast down the drag strip as the professionals. Curtis Smith, the winner in this stock division. Now in the super stock category, in the near lane will be Mike Boyles, and in the far lane, Wayne Dollyhigh.
4 subclasses involved here. These also have to be factory production models, but they allow some of the high-performance equipment that is supplied by the manufacturers.
Dollyhigh with a red light, and the winner is Mike Boyles. In the modified division, in the far lane is Buck Jednak, and in the near lane, Dennis Mitchell.
Well, this class is exciting. It's unique, by the way, to IHRA. High-revving cars that make a lot of noise and go very fast within the limitations that are placed on this particular class. These cars, by the way, must be designed solely for drag racing. We're getting near the top rung here in sportsman-type racing.
Jednak, of course, the defending world champion in this category. And he wins here at Rockingham this afternoon also. The top sportsman finalists in the near lane, Doug Ward from Milton, Florida, and Danny Eames from Dry Fork, Virginia in the far lane.
Well, here is that peak of the pyramid. That's the reason why they call it top sportsman. Now, this is open competition, and the cars can't burn nitromethane, but the class is almost unlimited. It's handicap racing. The handicaps are determined by your best time in qualifying. Now, you can't go any faster than you qualify. If you do, you break out of the bracket. By the way, this almost eliminates the old bugaboo sandbagging, which means that Tom Sneva would not do well. No, I'm just kidding.
Doug Ward, the winner in top sportsman. In the hot rod division, in the near lane will be J.H. Kearse, and the far lane, Michael Cowart.
There are 3 rod divisions. Hot rod, the breakout time here is 10.900, 10.9 seconds. Full-bodied race cars must be street in appearance.
And Michael Cowart with an easy win there in hot rod.
There are 3 rod divisions. We just saw hot rod. The next one is super rod. The breakout time here is 9.9. By the way, they use a pro start tree. What that means, you see only 1 amber light, 1 green light, and then you go.
Jackie Walker from Landrum, South Carolina has a solo run here. Ron Swan could not get his car repaired in time for the final, so Jackie Walker wins in super rod. And in the quick rod category, this race involves Tim Butler in the far lane and Deet Buckner in the near lane.
One of the real economy classes of almost Major League Racing. Breakout time 8.9 on the ET. Full and open body cars both are allowed in the quick rod class.
And the winner is Tim Butler in quick rod. Well, Ronnie Sox and Bruce Allen are rolling up to the starting area to get ready for their finals in Pro Stock. We'll be back for that in just a moment. Now set for the finals in pro stock. Ronnie Sox from Burlington, North Carolina will be in the near lane, and the far lane, Bruce Allen.
The veteran Sox against the man in his first ever finals, Bruce Allen. Sox in an 85 IHRA Camaro, Bruce Allen in an ancient 81 Camaro. Sox from North Carolina, Allen from Michigan.
Sox, the 1981 world titleist in pro stock. Can he pull off the win here this afternoon? Let's see how it goes. Ronnie Sox with a nice hole shot, and it's going to be Sox, the winner of the Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals here in Rockingham.
Allen almost didn't even get off the line. Talk about reaction time. It was almost non-existent. A real disappointing hole shot for Bruce Allen.
The time is 7.724. The speed 180.72 miles an hour. The crew is jubilant at Ronnie Sox victory here this afternoon.
Well, it's not the 190 that all of us kind of hoped for when Ricky Smith lost him in the preliminaries. That sort of put a period on that, but it was 180, and it was enough to beat Bruce Allen.
Rather easy win for Ronnie. Let's go down to Marty Reed, who's with the winner of Pro Stock, Ronnie Sox.
The old veteran comes through. Those tricks must have played a hand in this.
Well, I just give it my best shot, and I don't think I red lighted. I cut the light as close as I could, but it's a pretty good thing the car got loose down there in third gear. It was probably the worst run I made since I've been here.
Well, Ronnie Sox is back in action. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And our congratulations from the booth on Ronnie Sox victory in Pro Stock. Now we get ready for the Pro Funny Car Finals. Dale Pouldie from Granada Hills, California against Billy Meyer from Waco, Texas. Pouldie, of course, in the Pontiac Trans Am, and Meyer in the Ford Mustang as Pouldie does some burn-offs.
$20,000 up for grabs for first place. You know, Bob, this is almost a storybook final. When you think back, this is Pouldie. There he is in the Miller Warrior machine. He was the 1983 winner here at Rockingham. And Billy Meyer, that man right there in the red, white, and blue, Cheap Auto Parts 711 Mustang, he was the 84 winner.
Pouldie was the IHRA World Champion in 1977 and in 1972. Billy Meyer, on the other hand, is one of the winningest drivers on the IHRA circuit. He is 61-32, an outstanding record.
Now, as a matter of fact, we talked about Pouldie's win here. He has not won a final since that meet. Think of the feeling and the emotion that's going on inside of him right now. Think of Billy Meyer. He has destroyed 2 cars this year. He's had mechanical problems. He's had explosions in the engine compartment, and the bodywork just blew off right in front of his face. So both of these guys' chests got to be pounding. They both want to do well. Pouldie's waited a long time, and Meyer would like to turn around the 1985 season.
True for Pouldie wiping off the tires to make sure there is nothing between the racing surface and the tire itself. Now the cars are staging for the finals. In Pro Funny Car here at Rockingham, the far lane is Billy Meyer, near lane is Pouldie. Away they go, Pouldie with a slight advantage as they come down. Close race, but Pouldie wins it.
Boy, it was a good hole shot. There was a little bit of puff of smoke from Meyer right after he left the line. As you can see, the Pouldie crew, they're looking at the scoreboard. They know that he won the number 8 qualifier.
254.95 miles an hour, 5.804, and crew chief Mike Hamby among the celebrants.
Well, listen to this. Pouldie was beat in miles per hour. He was beat in elapsed time, but his reaction time at the line, there you see it, almost perfect off the line. Meyer slipping just a bit.
Marty Reed with Dale Pouldie.
Dale Pouldie, it's Miller time.
You can count on that.
a pair of 580s couldn't have been any closer.
I just can't believe it. I mean, we've been laying on that 580 all weekend long, and we tried to step it up. I've got the best crew in drag racing, is about all I can say. I mean, it's going to be Miller time. We're going to have a good time tonight. The first race we've won in 2 years, and boy, we've been through a lot of hell everywhere else.
Well, congratulations from all of us.
Well, thank you very much.
The long dry spell is over. Dale Pouldie wins here at Rockingham.
Hey, guys. All right. What a good driver. Wasn't for your leave, boy.
Watch your feet up there.
Let somebody right down.
When was the last time
Chevrolet Cruze.
Bartender's next big league pitcher and loves to serve fire brewed Strohs. See what I mean? That was his fastball. That was the curve. Look out. Wild pitch.
What was that?
Relief pitcher.
Strohs and Stroh Light, fire brewed for smoother taste.
A rerun of the Funny Car Finals, Paul D and Billy Meyer.
Yeah, Waco Willie. Now, if you told him before this meet began that he was going to turn in his last 3 runs better than 250 miles per hour, peaking at 261 in the finals, his personal best, by the way, and that he would still lose, he wouldn't have believed it. But it wasn't enough. Paul D pulls it off, even getting beaten by miles per hour.
And how about the Pro Stock Finals? Ronnie Sox, the blonde bomber, coming back after all these years.
Boy, I'll tell you, he really amazed me with his reaction times. He either is very, very good at guessing, or that hand-eye foot coordination is just absolutely phenomenal. But his reaction time, tremendous, and I really think that was his advantage in this meet.
Marty Reed has done an outstanding job covering the pit area and other locations here at Rockingham this weekend. Let's go down to Marty now for his closing comments about the action.
In Pro Stock, Ronnie Sox proves that being a veteran still counts in this sport. And for the Miller High Life Warrior team of Dale Pulte, well, as they put it, it is Miller time, as they get a little bit of luck in the early goings, but prove in the final that they were the ones to beat.
All right, Marty, thank you for your help today. And this is just one of several IHR races on ESPN this year.
Well, Bob, if this is any indication of what's to come, I don't know if I can take it. I mean, we've seen lumberjacking, we have seen explosions. They're typical, but they're still a lot of fun to watch. High speeds, almost 190 in Pro Stock, some more 260s in Pro Funny Car. This could be a very long, but also a very, very exciting season.
Other IHRA races we'll have for you this year from Milan, Michigan, Cleves, Ohio, and from Darlington, South Carolina. As the sun sets behind us and the crowd begins to file out, we thank you for joining us for the 1985 IHRA Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals. They've been brought to you by Strohs and Stroh Light, fire brewed for smoother taste. And by Drag Review, all you need to know about drag racing. For Larry Newber, this is Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us for the Motorcraft Pro-Am Nationals at Rockingham.